Mr. Chair, it appears that we have two problems. We can only solve one and not both. So we either live with the echo or then contend with the hissing noise, or vice versa. So I think I leave it to you to decide individually what you want, whether to hear me or to hear us through the speaker, which means you would have to deal with the echo, or to hear me through the earpiece and deal with the hissing noise that is there. So these are some of the vagaries of the arrangements that we have at the moment, so we got to deal with those.
Council, maybe we can hear both issues or systems, and at the end of the thing decide which one is less problematic.
I think one can make an individual decision. I mean, all of us can choose to listen to. We can all individually choose to listen to the loudspeaker, or we use the earpiece. So I think I would use the earpiece because it's a little better in spite of the hissing noise. But it's a matter of choice. So with your permission, I would start.
Please continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I ask that you leave the speaker on. So, Mr. Witness, are you there? Welcome to the TRRC. Before we proceed, I'll ask you to make the following affirmation after me. I state your name, please. Hereby affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Mboop, my name is Esa Fal. My responsibility today is to help you narrate your story to the Commission. Do you understand? I'll advise you to look down a little bit so that we would have a full view of your face. Thank you very much, Mr. Mboop. Before we start, I want to remind you of certain important legal issues. That is the duty to speak the truth and the consequences of not doing so. You have been informed before you appear today or this afternoon. You've been informed that it is a crime under the laws of the Gambia to make a false statement while under an affirmation or under an oath. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You have also been informed that it's a crime under the TRRC Act to make a false statement before the TRRC. Correct?
Correct.
I again remind you of the obligation to speak the truth, and that it is only the truth that will set you free. Do you understand?
I do.
So, can you kindly tell us your full names, please?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi sahri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. My name is Babukar Mboop.
what is your date of birth?
My date of birth is October 4th, 1967.
Mr. Mboop, I crave your indulgence to look down a little bit in such that we would have a good view of your face, and also
Okay,
for you
sir.
to speak into the microphone, because some of what you're saying do not come clear. Maybe you should tilt the screen maybe a little towards you.
Is this okay?
This is better.
Oh,
This is better. But if it looks to me that the shot or it's frozen, so okay, it's moving now. So thank you very much. So kindly remind us again your date of birth, please.
October 4th, 1967.
Where were you born?
In Numukabe, Lower Nyomi, North Bank Division.
Ndungu Kebe, which division?
North Bank.
Okay, thank you very much. Where did you go to school?
I first started in Numukabe Primary School in 75, and then proceeded to Banjul Secondary Technical School in Banjul in 1985. No, sorry, in 1981.
And you completed in 1985, correct?
Yes, I do.
And you enlisted in the Gambia National Army in 1991, correct?
Yes, sir.
And where did you train?
I trained military training in Farafenye.
Do you recall your intake number?
It was intake number 15.
Do you recall when you've completed your training?
Yes, it was in the same 1991 May.
And where were you deployed after your training?
I was deployed in Yundum Barracks.
Did you pursue any other training soon after?
Not very soon after, but in the same the following year, 1992, yes, I went to Ghana for a boxing course.
And you returned in the same year, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do from 1992 to 1996?
From 1992 to 1996, after returning from Ghana, after a short time, I was transferred to the regimental police. We call it RP in the military. And I was in the military until when the Nigerians came, the military police was now moved to the army. That's when I was transferred to the military police, and I was there until 1996 again. Then I was also again sent to Nigeria for a bodyguard course. After completion of that course, that's when I was actually moved to the State House in 1996.
And what work did you perform at State House?
In State House, I was a general bodyguard to the then President Yaya Jammeh and his family, performing the general bodyguard duties.
And you remained in this position until when?
I remained in this position until 2000, very early 2001. Then I was now the orderly to the president in his office.
And in 2001 and 2004, what work were you doing?
I was an orderly to the president, the ex-president Yaya Jammeh, in his office.
And what did you do after that?
After that, after 2004, I moved to Bakau Barracks to join the commando unit, and I was there until my relocation to the U.S.
Which occurred when?
In 2004, late 2004.
Good. Thank you very much. So, in the month of November 1994, where were you stationed?
In the month of November 1994, I was still with the military police, and then that time I was actually like detached to the army headquarters. When I get up in the morning, I go to work to Banjul in the headquarters, and then return back to Yundum Barracks where I was residing in the evening.
So, in 1994 November, you were residing in Yundum Barracks.
That is correct.
And your station, your duty station, was Army headquarters in Banjul, correct?
Very correct.
Can you tell us what happened on the evening of 10 November 1994?
On the 10th of November in the evening, I was out walking about with my ex-wife then, Jennifer Ture, and our 3-month-old son. It was like a routine sometimes when I get off in the evening. I go about walking about with her, and then at that evening I stopped in Fafanyang's house, the late Fafanyang's house, just to say hello because he was a family friend also. So when we came, my wife and our baby were, even I myself also, we were all sitting in the living room, just ready to chat. That's when the late Fafanyang called me into his bedroom. So I left my wife in this room and go and answer to him in the bedroom. That's when Fafanyang disclosed to me that they're planning to stage a coup. They're planning to stage a coup d'etat. And then he asked me to join. Then I asked him what are the plans and who are the members of this coup who are planning this coup. But he declined not to tell me who the coup plotters are, who are the leaders, and what are the plans. That's when in my mind, I decided not to get myself involved in those kind of informations or those kind of activities, since I don't have no clear decision about it. He was talking to me.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you.
Okay.
I need to clear a few issues from what you have said.
Okay.
You did indicate that you went with your wife for a walk and you passed by Fafanyang's house or his accommodation. Yes. And Fafanyang called you into the living room and confided into his bedroom, and confided to you that they were planning a coup d'etat and wanted you to join.
Yeah.
But he declined to tell
Yeah.
you who the other members of the plot were. And you said in your mind that you would not join something that you don't know the full details. That is what you said,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
At this time, you were a member of the military police, correct?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And your job as a member of the military police was what?
Was to actually at that time my job was to investigate and make reports, like if there's any case between the military and any civilian, or between a soldier and another soldier. We do the investigation, and we do the recommendations, and then forward it to our commander, whoever it is, so that he can forward that information we have and the recommendation we have to the authority at that time.
Essentially, what you were saying is that your work was to investigate crimes involving soldiers,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
And at this stage, what Fafanyang told you was already a crime in the making, correct?
It is true.
And your job as a member of the military police at the time was to investigate, detect, and bring to justice those people who were committing crimes, those soldiers who were committing crimes, just like Fafanyang himself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you left Fafanyang's house knowing fully well that your friend, your close friend, your family friend, as you described him, was planning to commit a crime which you have an obligation to investigate, correct?
That is true.
Tell us what happened after you left Fafanyang's house.
After I left Fafanyang's house, I told my wife that we should go back to my house. When we go there, at that time I couldn't even tell her nothing. I was thinking about this, how to go about this. But at that time also, we already knew that the council members knew that there was something going on. They already know that there are officers that are planning to stage a coup. And they actually even came to the barracks on that afternoon whilst I was still in Banjul. So this confirmed to me that it was true, because for me, I was just hearing rumors at that time. When I get up in the morning, all that I do is to go to work in Banjul, and I have my senior men and everybody in the office there in the barracks. I am pretty much sure that they're aware of this situation also. So at that time of the evening, I don't have nothing that I can do at that time. I don't have no means of communication. There were no phones. There were nothing that I can even do anything. All that I can do is to wait in the morning. If nothing happened at all, then I will definitely proceed before I go to Banjul, make sure that this was reported to my senior men. But it was that very night. Yes, yes, sir.
Speak a little bit slowly and into the microphone so that we get clearly what you're saying. But from what you've said, you seem to be suggesting that you could not report this matter because all your senior officers were not in the camp and you had no means of communication. Is that what you're telling us?
That is correct, sir.
But Mr. Mbub, you know that is not correct.
What is not correct?
What you have just said.
Well, that time there were no.
Okay. In the camp, every day there would be an officer who would be responsible for running the camp in the evening, correct?
That is correct.
And your accommodation was just a few hundred meters away from the camp, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that senior officer who would be responsible for the camp would have been available that night, correct?
That is correct.
I think there's a relay of what I have just said, but maybe that's just a technical glitch. So that senior officer would have been available at that night, correct?
That is very correct.
You did not go to him, did you?
I didn't, for the simple reason that since he didn't provide to me those who were involved, I don't trust no one at that time. I don't know who is involved and who is not. I don't know who to go to. The only thing that I can do at that time, and my only consent that I trust at that time was to make sure that this is reported in the morning before I go to Banjul.
And to whom would
But
you report it? To who would you report it?
If I had woke up in the next morning without anything happening, then I will definitely stop by the office to see if there's any senior man in the office at that time, and I will tell him what I heard.
But there was already a senior man in the camp. You could have gone to him.
That's what I just said. I didn't trust nobody at that time.
Your accommodation, how far is it from Banjulunding?
I would say about 3 miles.
You know the accommodation of the then army commander, didn't you?
Who? Which army commander?
Babukar Jata.
I don't know whether he was living in the barracks at that time, or if he was living anywhere close at that time.
Mr. Witness, you worked at Army headquarters. Babukar Jata worked at Army headquarters, correct?
Yes, sir. But that time it was the Nigerians. It was no, sorry. Yeah, it was the Nigerians who were in the headquarters. They were the one commanding the headquarters at that time.
We are saying November 10th, 1994.
November 10, 1994. Whoever was at the commanding at that time, I don't know where he was living, like his residence. I don't know it.
Mr. Mbuk, how could you be working at the army headquarters together with Babukar Jata? He lived at Banjulunding. You lived at the barracks. You didn't know where he lived at the time? Wouldn't that be surprising?
It might be surprising, but it is the truth. I don't know where he lived at that time.
Okay, we move on. Tell us what you did after you went back to your house.
I convinced my wife and advised her that I want her to go to Serakunda to my aunt and spend the night there. Since I was sent, the way Fafanyang spoke to me and the domain and the movement I'm seeing in the barracks, I sense that there's a kind of a very, very imminent coup, or it is right in the advanced state right now. It could be at any time. It could be either today, or it could be any other time. And I just don't want family to be around the barracks at that time. So I convinced her to go to Serakunda to my aunt and spend the night there. She agreed with me. I make her prepare, and then as I was going to the highway to make sure that she have a transportation. I went straight into the barracks. That's when I saw Buba Jammeh, aka Kanilai. They call him Kanilai. He was in a white van at that time, heading towards the gate going out of the barracks. I asked him if he was going to Serakunda around that area because I just want him to drop my wife for me. He agreed with that. And that's how I saw my wife off. Looking at the people in the soldiers in the barracks there, I know that there is something up. But at that time, I couldn't talk to anybody neither. That's when I just walked straight to my house again, did my prayers that night, and I ate, and I went to bed in full uniform and my rifle by my side.
Preparing for what?
Just as a soldier, not knowing what is coming up next, that's the only thing I can do at that time, making sure that whatever is coming.
Mr. Mboop, here you are. You've been informed that a coup was going to take place.
Yeah.
You deemed it important to send your wife away from the barracks that night, correct?
Yes. Yes.
From the movement that you saw, you believed this was going to take place very soon, correct?
Yeah.
And you did all the necessary to prepare yourself to go and fight.
Yes, sir.
On which side?
Not at any side. At that time, I was just getting myself ready, not like to fight here or to fight there, but just to arm myself as a soldier and then just see what is going to happen next. That is exactly
Mr. Mboop,
how I was thinking.
Mr. Mboop, we are
Yes,
not
sir.
investigating who participated in November 11 on side A or side B. That's not the issue here. If you
Yes,
supported the coup, say it. If you didn't, say it. But it looked like you are readying yourself to participate in the coup you have just been informed about by your friend.
That is absolutely incorrect, sir. That is absolutely incorrect.
But nonetheless, you did not report the matter. You came across somebody who was leaving the camp. You could have left with him to go and report the matter at the police. Couldn't you have done so?
I could have done so at that time also, but it was not in my mind. It wasn't ringing in my mind that one. And the way I saw Buba Jammeh leaving, I know that they are already aware of what was going on at that very instant.
To put it simply, you had no intention of reporting this matter.
I did have the intention of reporting it, but to my closest commander at that time, definitely yes.
And who was that?
At that time, it was Captain Butu, late Captain Juf. We used to call him Butu.
That was the head of military police at the time.
At that time, yes, sir.
And you had an opportunity to leave the camp, didn't you?
I did have the opportunity, yes, sir, to leave the camp. Yes, sir.
And you didn't take it?
I didn't take it because I wasn't thinking that way like that. I was just thinking like I'm a soldier. I don't know even like if I leave the barracks, how would I go back? And all. I wasn't thinking straight like that at that time.
So you went ahead and prepared yourself for a fight?
I prepare myself not for a fight itself, but just to defend myself as a soldier in the barrack. If anything comes my way, I know that I support the regime at that time, and I don't have no intention of staging any coup, joining any coup. And whenever it's time to, when my service is needed at any time, I was just getting myself ready for
that. Let us move on, Mr. Witness. So you went back to your house, you prayed, ate, dressed yourself in full military uniform, took your rifle, And then what did you do after that?
After I ate, I dressed up and then I went to bed with my rifle by my side, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Then after I would say very early in the morning, that's when I was woke up. I was woken up by gunshots.
What time in the morning?
Then
What time in the
I
morning?
don't know. I don't know exactly what time, but it was getting much clearer at that time. It was getting more clear. Yes,
Was
sir.
it after Fajr prayers?
I would say it would be around that area, around that time. It was getting clear at that time. Yeah, it was getting bright.
At this time, had you already prayed Fajr prayers?
No, sir.
Okay, let's try to uh, make an approximation of the time. Was it 3 a.m. or after 3 a.m.?
No, sir. It was early in the morning. It was definitely closer to the sun coming up, rising up.
7 a.m.?
But I'm sorry?
7 a.m.? 8 a.m.? 9 a.m.?
No, before that time. Before that time. Before that time. I would say before 7. Definitely before 7.
6 a.m. or after 6 a.m.?
I don't know. I cannot remember the time, sir.
Okay, what happened after you woke up?
I ran and I went straight to the barracks. Actually, I stopped by the office there and asked. There was only one, I think, one personnel I found in the office, and I asked him what's going on, but he couldn't tell me nothing at that time. And I also forgot who exactly was there in the barracks. But that there are soldiers in the barracks right now. That's when I rushed to the barracks. And when I came, that's when I saw soldiers were in the barracks at that time. And I saw Edwards himself right in front of the the anteroom, in front of the anteroom. And there were a lot of soldiers around that area also, a very, very number of large soldiers.
Okay,
So
how
we were,
long, how long did it take you to get to the anteroom from the time you woke up?
I don't know, but it will be less than 10 minutes, definitely. It will be less than 10 minutes. I stopped by our office, but then I didn't stay there long, and I proceeded.
So when you arrived at the anteroom area, you said who?
I
Who did
found
you
a lot
find?
of soldiers there, even a lot of soldiers, including Edward Singata. I saw him, I could still remember.
How about other council members? Did you see them there at this time?
I couldn't remember.
Um, I can tell you from the testimonies that we have received that the council members left Fajara Barracks around after 6 a.m. and returned to Yundum Barracks. Would it be
Okay.
correct from what you're saying that you saw Edward Singate at the barracks at around 7 a.m.?
It could be. It could be. I really don't remember the time, but it could be. But I don't remember the time, definitely.
During this time, when you arrived at the barracks, were you able to see people and recognize them from some reasonable distance, like 20, 30 meters?
Yes, sir.
So, would it be safe to suggest that you arrived at the barracks at around 7 a.m.?
It could be 7 o'clock. It could be before 7. It could be a little after 7. But I'm sure it is. in that area, in that time frame.
So it was already dawn at the time you got to the barracks.
It was definitely, yeah.
And you said you were woken up by gunshots, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what is the distance between your accommodation and the main barracks, the guard room area?
The distance is, you will say, maybe 600 meters, less than a kilometer.
And and if guns were fired in the barracks, you being in your accommodation, you should hear it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, and you said that you were woken up by gunfire at around dawn, say around 6 to 7 a.m. And that's the first time you heard the gunshots, correct?
That's the first.
What is strange, Mr. Witness, is that the gunshots that were fired at Yundum Barracks, based on the evidence that we already have, those gunshots occurred around after midnight to between midnight and 2 a.m. What do you say to that?
I don't know about that, but I'm sure that what I heard that woke me up was a gunshot. It could be sporadic, somebody just opened fire or something, but that I heard was a gunshot.
How many gunshots did you hear?
Well, one woke me up, and since I woke up, I didn't hear another one.
So you heard only one gunshot?
Another one. Yes, sir.
But wouldn't it be strange that throughout the night, between 12 midnight and 2 a.m., there was a lot of gunshots? You didn't hear it, but you heard the lone gunshot at dawn. Wouldn't that be strange?
It is not strange to me. Since I was sleeping, you could be woke up by a little tap. Sometimes a loud bang you will not even hear. It's not
But
strange to
you
me.
couldn't hear the sustained gunfire, but you heard the one gunshot. Wouldn't that be strange?
Maybe it's because at that time I already have enough sleep, and anything can wake me up. It could be that too. But I'm sure that when they were firing in the night, I didn't hear even a single gunshot.
Even though you were 500 to 600 meters away from where the events were happening.
Yes, sir.
Isn't it, Mr. Witness, that you do not wish to place yourself at the Yundum barracks for the hours in which the fighting was taking place?
You're coming breaking, sir. I didn't hear your question.
I will repeat that, thank you. Is it the case, Mr. Witness, that you are avoiding to place yourself at Yundum barracks at the time when the fighting was going on, the hours of 1 a.m. and 2 a.m.?
No, sir. That's not the case, sir. I was ready for anything for my service. And if I had had if I had had anything at that time, I was just going to get up and go.
And to offer your services to who?
To the government.
But earlier on you said you did not know to which side you were going to fight on behalf of.
No, what I meant there is not. I don't know. I getting myself prepared just in case of anything. I am already armed and to defend myself. That's what I meant on that side. But like the question of which side am I on? It was definitely the government of the day. I was just loyal to the government of the day.
Okay, so tell us what happened when you arrived at the barracks at 7 a.m. or thereabout.
Within 5 minutes, when I noticed Edward Singate, and it was almost the same time, he was ordering soldiers to go and get Papanyang from the guard room and execute him.
And
I was right there.
Would it be correct to say that this Fafanyang is the person who briefed you about the coup d'etat the night before?
Yes, sir. It's the same Fafanyang. Yes, sir.
And would it be correct to say that from the moment Fafanyang informed you, you had an obligation to report the matter, correct?
I had an obligation to report the matter, yes, sir.
And you failed to report the matter as at the time you arrived at the barracks, correct?
At the time I arrived at the barracks?
You have failed to report the matter.
At the time, like I said, I cannot, I don't trust anybody to tell, because Fafanyang did not tell me who and who was involved.
Yes,
so I couldn't tell.
Precisely. By the time you got to the barracks, you did not report the matter to any superior officer, correct?
You mean in the morning?
Yes.
Well, I didn't report because at that time everybody knows what was going on.
And you know, in the military, failure to report a planned coup, failure to report to a superior officer of a planned coup is in fact an offense, correct?
That is correct, but that was not my intention. I was ready to report it if it was not, if it was leaked at that time.
But the fact remains that as at the time you found yourself at the barracks, you did not report it.
I did not, because that time it was already known to everyone.
Okay. And you knew that failure to report the matter was an offense, correct?
At that time, everybody was aware already, so nobody was asking.
Let's just answer the questions. This is a straight yes or no answer. You were a member of the military police. You knew that failure to report information about a coup was an offense. You knew that, correct?
Yes.
Good. So, and Fafanyang was being brought out, and you knew that this is the same guy who gave you information about the coup, correct?
Yes, I did.
And this guy was going to be executed, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that point in time, you knew that if he had pointed you out, you may probably be arrested for also concealing the information that there was going to be a coup, correct?
I cannot point because I didn't tell him, yes, I'm in. I didn't tell him that. He cannot point me out.
Mr. Witness, the issue here is not whether you were part of the coup or that you have agreed to participate. That is not the issue. The issue here is that you already have information that a coup was going to take place. That is the issue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So if he had pointed you out as someone who knew about it, you would be in trouble, correct?
That is correct, but I am sure that he was not going to do that because he didn't get confirmation from me that I was part of the coup. I understand what you're asking me, but I didn't say that at that time. I wasn't afraid of anything at that time.
Okay, the question is, would you have been in trouble if he had identified you as someone who received information that the coup was going to take place?
Well, that it might be, yes, but I wasn't thinking that he was ever going to say that because he didn't have no information. He didn't have no confirmation from me, so I wasn't thinking like that.
Okay, we would proceed. So, when Edward said, bring out Fafanyang, what happened after that?
That's when I just stepped back like this, and I saw soldiers running to the guard room, because at that time I don't even know where Fafanyang was locked up. When they say bring Fafanyang, I was like looking around, where is Fafanyang? That's when I came to realize that he was locked up in the guard room. So I saw them run over there, and in a matter of minutes, I saw Fafanyang running, coming from the guard room area. He was running in just a knicker, like a underwear, no uniform, no nothing, no shirt, no underwear, no singlet, no nothing, just with a little underwear that he was wearing at that time. So they forced him to run. He was running. Some of the soldiers were hitting, some of them were kicking as he ran. And when he came close to Edward there, actually they even forced him to crawl between where he stopped to Edward Singate. That's when yeah.
Okay, we do it in bits. When he was removed out of the guard room, you say he was already stripped of his uniform and he had no clothes except his underwear. And did they do anything to him during that time?
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's what I just said. That they forced him to run. And some of the soldiers, like if he's running, passing soldiers, some will be kicking him, trying to bring him down. Some will be punching him if they're able to get him. And that's how he get to Edward Singate.
And which soldiers do you recognize among those who were doing this?
Definitely, I cannot remember that right now. But I know that there were soldiers at that time.
You can't remember, or you wouldn't tell?
No, it is not because of that. I just cannot remember.
Okay. All right. And when he got to Edward Singate, what happened?
When he got there, Edward Singate gave the final order that Edward Fafanyang should be executed. And that's when they asked him again. I was right there standing, and then they asked him. Although I didn't know those soldiers, but I know that they were not from the barracks. They were not from the barracks. They asked him to run again. They forced him to run again to was the cookhouse. When Fafanyang ran until he stopped, I was right there standing, and I saw Staff Sergeant Lamin Gassama and Private Bala Jiba. Both of them were standing in a firing position at that time.
And what happened?
So then I was watching when I saw, first of all, I saw Staff Sergeant Gassama took an aim like he was about to shoot, So when I looked at Fafanyang, he was still standing. Then I looked back again to see Gassama. But then that's when this shot, actually, one shot was fired. And at that same instant also, I saw Balajiba, who was at that time on the firing position like this. And then that's when he dropped his rifle. So I didn't know whether it was actually Balajiba who released that shot or Staff Sergeant Gassama who relieved the shot. But in my mind at that time, up till now, I was thinking that it was between the two of them who released that shot. It could have been another soldier, but I didn't see another soldier at the time. But these two, I definitely remember seeing them in the firing position. And by the time the shot went off, it was Balajiba whom I saw on the firing position like that.
And what happened after that?
So that's the time again, soldiers ran again, grabbed Fafanyang on the hands, some on the legs. They were trying to bring him to Edward Singate, but Fafanyang was still alive at that time. Fafanyang was still alive, so they put him down between the cookhouse and the ration store. There's a driveway. They put him down there. This is the time when Lamin Koli, that time I think he was a private, Lamin Koli ran and came there. He first released and missed him. Then he released another shot that hit him there. And that was the round actually that killed Papa Nyang.
So let's first deal with the action of Kole. From what you saw, was that deliberate or was it accidental?
Well, if it was accidental, I don't think he was gonna do it twice. Because if as a soldier, if you make if you make a negligent charge, which is like firing your weapon by accident, you should definitely stop and correct that. But if it fire again, and this time you're pointing your gun to the individual, I don't think that's accidental. It could be an accident, but I don't think so.
Did you see him aim at the victim, Fafanyang?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you see him press the trigger?
I saw him fire his weapon.
And in your book, as an experienced soldier, that was deliberate?
I will say that, yes, sir.
Okay, now let's take it a few steps backwards. Fafanyang was allegedly brought out of the guard room and pushed towards Edward Singate, or the direction where he was shot, by yourself. What do you say to that? By the way, perhaps maybe before you answer, let me ask the technicians to play this video, and you see it, and you tell us what you think.
Okay.
Can you kindly play the video, the excerpt of Esa Mendy, talking about the killing of Fafanyang?
From there, we went back to Yundum Barracks. When we arrived at Yundum Barracks, we stood in front of the guard room there. This man was brought in, Sergeant Fafa Nyang was brought in by Corporal Kanyi and Boob.
Which Corporal Kanyi are you referring to?
I think we call him Alaji Kanyi.
And who else?
Babkar Mboob.
What was Babkar Mboob's rank?
He was, if I may call, he was a lance corporal.
And they brought out Fafanyang. And
yes,
can you show us how Fafanyang was being brought out, the way he was treated? Can you show us? We want to appreciate, we want to have a good understanding how Fafanyang was handled when he was being taken out.
Can I get up?
By all means.
Okay, sir.
Microphone.
Kindly
yes.
up the volume.
Speak through the microphone.
This was the guard room here. Then there is rooms, houses around there. So we were standing here. He was dragged. Both of them, one handle here, one handle there. They were pulling him. Then he was saying, "Bilai walai talai, I am not a monk." That was the word that he was saying. But Sana Sabali ordered them, go and shoot him. So they drag him up to the anteroom area towards the guard room. Then they fire.
That's fine, Mr. Witness. That's fine, technicians. So, Mr. Witness, you have seen the testimony of Esa Kanyi on the oath. He said, you and Kanyi brought out Fafanyang and took him to where he was shot and killed.
I am on the oath too, as I'm speaking to you. And I'm saying that that is very incorrect and not true at all. Fafanyang in the first place was not even grabbed by the hands, as far as I can remember. He was just let running like that, naked, almost naked, and soldiers were kicking and beating him. There was nobody who actually held him at that time.
But
they didn't hold him.
Is it your suggestion that he was not grabbed when he was being removed from the guard room and brought
well,
out?
I wouldn't say wouldn't say he was not grabbed from the guard room because I don't even see him coming from the guard room. I just saw him when he made that left coming towards the anteroom. That's when I saw him running.
So you are saying, therefore, that Esa Mendy fabricated the story that you, Babu Karmbuk, and Alaji Kanyi brought out Fafanyang and took him to the place where he was executed. You saying what he said is a lie?
That is very true, sir. That is not correct. It's not true.
If it was, or would you accept responsibility that you did that?
Very well, sir. I will definitely accept responsibility.
Okay, we will proceed. You said it was Staff Sergeant Gassama and Jiba who actually shot Fafanyang. Staff Sergeant Gassama and Jiba. You saw them take firing positions and Fafanyang was hit by gunshots. You believe they shot him. That's your testimony, correct?
I am not saying that they shot him. I'm saying that this shot definitely might either come from Gassama, who aimed first, or Balajiba, who actually was on the firing position when the shot rang off. But I didn't say that it was either Gassama or this thing. I know that the shot might either come from the two of them, either one of them, because it was only one round that was fired. I don't know whether it was Balajiba who was at the firing position at the instant the shot was fired, or it was Gassama. I couldn't say for sure because before I look at them, the shot has already been fired. So I couldn't say whether it was.
At the time the shot was fired, where were you standing?
I was standing, actually, I would say, on a side between between Gassama himself. I was even closer to Gassama at that time than Balajiba because Balajiba was standing a little bit far. But I was standing between them and where Fafanyang was.
Essentially, you were behind Fafanyang, correct?
I was like, yeah, on the side of Fafanyang, not like behind Fafanyang, but standing aside, getting away from their arc of fire. Like I wasn't standing between them actually, between them and Fafanyang, but I was actually like on the side, making sure that I'm out of their arc of fire at that time.
Essentially, Fafanyang was in front of you and Balajiba was to your side. That's what you're suggesting?
Balajiba was a little bit, yes, on the other side.
But Lamin Gassama was to your side.
Yes, but both of them were still standing. You know, Balajiba and Lamin Gassama were like standing side by side, like it was a kind of an extended line. And I was standing on the other side here. And there were many other soldiers, and it was not only me. But
what was the distance between you and Fafanyang?
I would say between 40 to 50 meters.
You said 40 to 50 meters?
That would be incorrect. I would say between 30 to 35 meters. 30 to 35
From
meters.
40 to 50 meters, now to 30 to 35 meters. That's your testimony?
Yes, I'm just trying to make it much closer to my estimation. This is only estimation that I'm giving because I don't have a measurement at that time to measure the distance.
Mr. Witness, the suggestion is that you participated in manhandling Fafanyang and took him to where he was shot and killed. You deny that?
I did not manhandle Fafanyang. I truly did
what
not
do you say?
Fafanyang.
What do you say to the suggestion that you led Fafanyang to his death simply because you wanted to hide the only evidence available to show that you knew about the coup d'etat?
That is not true. That is definitely not true, sir. Definitely not true.
All right. And do you realize that of all the witnesses who testified, you are the only person who mentioned Sergeant Gassama and Bala Jiba in connection with the killing of Fafanyang? What do you say to that?
Because I saw it, and I'm not going to accuse anybody if I don't see it.
No, the
I saw
issue
this with
is,
my naked eye.
I agree with that. That is the way to go. We encourage honesty and truthfulness for anybody who appears before this commission. But my question is, would it be surprising to you that you are the only person who mentioned these two individuals in connection with Fafanyang's death?
Well, it will be a very big surprising, yes, but I will not mention anybody's name here whom I didn't see.
Okay, let's move on. And what happened after the killing of Fafanyang?
When that happened, it was actually when I think Edward Singate actually, I think he went back into the anteroom there. And for me, I myself personally, I tried to go back to because I didn't even pray super at that time. So I tried to go back to the office so that I can have time to do my prayers. After my prayers that day, I didn't even go to Banjul to perform my duties there. Instead, I was in Yundum Barracks there, in the office in Yundum Barracks.
Yes, and what happened while you were there?
It was later that afternoon, whilst we were still in the office, when Captain Juve Butu actually ordered us, but speaking to Lieutenant Kejau Ture, who was our second in command at that time, that we should bring Lieutenant Jibril Say, to the office for interview.
What time in the afternoon? What time in the afternoon?
It was in the afternoon. I would say between 3 and 4, or between 3 and 4, or between it could be between 4.
Tell us the time, please.
I forgot the time. I cannot say exactly what was the time, but it's definitely between 3 and 4, or between 2 and 4. But I definitely cannot be specific with the time.
As at this time, where were the council members?
At this time, I think all the council members are already gone. At that time, they were gone. If they were not, if they were there, I didn't see them because I was in my office. We were in the office there, so I wouldn't say they're gone because I don't know where they were at that time. But at this very time, we went from there to the guard room, to the barracks, because our office was inside the Bahamas, just like with the residential area there. So when we went to the camp and picked up Lieutenant Jibril Say, it was me and Lieutenant Kejau Ture and Sergeant George Cisse. George Cisse and the driver.
And what happened after that?
We took Jibril Say in our vehicle and bring him to our office in the Bahamas, and then sat him by Captain Butu, Captain Juve's office. That's where we sat him. I remember when he just came and sat down, the first thing he said to me was, "Can I have water to drink?" And then I went into our office and brought him some water. It was this time, whilst he was drinking the water, that we were told that we should bring Jibril Say right back to the barracks.
Who ordered that?
Well, it was Captain Butu, Captain Juve, who actually told Lieutenant Keja that to take Butu, and we should take Jibril say back to the guard, to the
And,
barracks.
and was that done?
Yes, sir. With immediate effect. Yes, sir.
And tell us what happened when you arrived at the guard room.
When we arrived in the guard room, we parked our truck and then took Jibril out, and then RSM Gomez, we normally call him Papu. RSM Gomez took him from us and then tied his hands. At that time, I couldn't see the other officers, but then in a short while, that's when I actually saw the officers came out from the guard room, all of them, and they were loaded in a jeep. They were
At
loaded in
this
a jeep.
at this time, where were the council members?
At this time, I noticed Edward Singate and Sadebo Haidara standing, like they were waiting.
How about the other council members?
I couldn't see them at that time.
Do you recall giving a statement to the investigators?
Yes, sir.
And of course, you are testifying remotely. So, do you have a copy of your statement with you?
I could check it over here. Let me see.
Okay. I will read out a paragraph from your statement, and you tell me whether, from your recollection, that is correct. You can trust the fact that I would read out what is stated, what is contained in it.
Absolutely.
Here you said, in paragraph 5 of your statement, as I stood outside waiting for the next orders, I saw all the council members outside except Yaya Jame. I cannot remember seeing Yankuba Ture either. Is that correct? That's what you said in your statement?
All the council members, then that would be a mistake, because I know that the only time, at that point in time, the only person that I saw right there was Edward Sinate and Sadibu Haidar. I did saw Sabali, but that was later in the journey, not right there at that instant.
Okay. So you saw Haidara and Singate, and what happened after that?
These officers were loaded in the jeep, in the military jeep, and they covered them. They actually covered them with the roof, like the cover of the jeep's roof, which was like a plastic. They covered them with that. And that's the time.
Can you tell us which soldiers you saw participating in this?
I'm sure RSM Papu was part of it, but I did not remember the rest of the soldiers.
Can you give us names, please?
I say I can remember RSM Papu participating in that process, but not the rest of the soldiers. I cannot remember them.
And the orderlies of the council members, where were they at this time?
Most of them were there at that time, but I don't even know them that much, so I couldn't say who was who at that time.
Okay. Can you tell us what time this event took place?
This was definitely from 3 to 4 o'clock, or from 4 to 5. That time it was from 3 to 4. It was from 3 to 4.
Okay, what happened after that?
Then when the council members departed, and then they actually, it was Edward Singate who lowered down his window and told us, get on board and follow behind the convoy with the military police who were there. And then that's when I myself, Lieutenant Kejaw Toure, Sergeant Cisse, George Cisse, and the driver, whom I forgot his name. We boarded the truck, and then we followed right behind the convoy.
You said some officers were put in this jeep-like vehicle. Do you recall which officers were put in that vehicle?
Yes, sir. I can still remember Lieutenant Jibril Say. I can still remember Lieutenant Jammeh, Buba Jammeh, Lieutenant Bakari Mane, Cadet Silla, Ablai Bah. Yeah, these are the guys that I remember their names. I know that there was an other officer, but I don't remember his name.
Thank you very much. So what happened after Edward Singate told you to follow and join the convoy?
We did as he ordered us to do, and we headed towards the gate outside in the highway. At this point, I was thinking that they were taking them to Mile 2 prison. When we were out of the barracks right there on the highway, so I saw the convoy made a right towards Birkama instead of making a left towards Serakunda, where Mile 2 prison is situated. So at this juncture, I was kind of lost in thoughts, and I asked in the vehicle. It was like a general question I threw to Lieutenant Kejaw Toure and Sergeant George Cisse, or even the driver. Anybody can answer. The time we kept driving until we get to the forest. We're just about to get out of the forest, approaching Birkama, when the convoy actually made a right turn on the road alongside the forest, going in the forest. So we were going up to a distance of driving, like few minutes, I would say. There were a few minutes out there. We drive about 2 miles, I would say. That's when the convoy actually stopped. When it stopped, we all get out, we all get off the vehicle. That's when I first saw Sana Sabali and knew that he was all along with us in this journey. That's the first time I saw him.
On this particular issue, I would want to read out your statement in paragraph 7 and tell us whether this is correct. The names of the soldiers I can remember present at the forest were all council members and their orderlies except Yaya Jame. That's correct?
Yes, sir. At that point, yes, I saw them.
I read it out again. The names of the soldiers I can remember present at the forest were all the council members and their orderlies except Yaya Jame. Correct?
Well, I don't think in the statement I even mentioned Yaya Jame, but he was definitely excluded. He was not there.
I don't understand that. Could you say that again? The statement says you remember all council members being present except Yaya Jame. Is that correct?
That's what this, that is correct.
Okay, good. So it means to say by that statement that Yankuba Ture was there, Sadibo Haidara was there, Edward Singate was there, and Sana Sabali was there, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Witness. And you went on to say that you were there, Lieutenant Kejaw Ture was there, Sergeant George Cisse, Alaji Kanyi, Lamin Marong, Mustafa Toure, JCB Mendy, Njai Ponkal, and all the drivers, including our own. That's what you said
That
in
is
that
correct.
paragraph. That is correct. All right.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
tell us what happened when you arrived and people descended from the vehicles and you saw Sana Sabali for the first time. Tell us what happened afterwards.
He told them to come down the vehicle, come down from the vehicle. At this time, they were murmuring. They were saying the officers were talking in a low voice, which I didn't hear. The only person that I heard talking at that time was what's his name again? Kenneth Silla. I heard Kenneth Silla was reciting a verse from the Quran, from Surah to Maida. Then after that, Sana Sabali ordered them to come out, and they ordered them to kneel down, give their back, and kneel down. And when they did that, we were also ordered, all of us except all of us at that time, I could say. I know there were some other soldiers because I can still remember seeing Lieutenant Kejau Toure and Lieutenant Sergeant George Cisse standing aside. I did not see them on the line, on our extended line. And then
okay.
moving.
Were you on the extended line?
I was.
Okay, proceed, please.
And after that, when he told us to form an extended line, I was actually in front of the line going to the far left to give room to the others. Then that's the time actually one of the officers was trying to say something, and Sana Sabali cut him short and screamed at us, all those who were on that extended line. I did not know who and who were there because I was the one in front. They were on my back, so I don't know who and who were in front. Then that's the time Sana Sabali screamed at us and said, "Hey!" When he said that, that's exactly when the firing started. We opened fire on them, and we opened fire on them, and then it was like a matter of seconds. I would say from 1 to 2 seconds. All these captured officers were down on the ground.
Did you fire?
Then we were ordered. Yes, I did.
Good. Mr. Witness, well, it's refreshing that you have accepted that you fired at the soldiers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you have changed your evidence from the story you previously provided, that when you were ordered to fire, you fell down and did not fire. But now you have accepted that you fired. Correct?
I did accept that I fired. Only for this thing, because this is what I believe, that even if I don't fire at that time, it makes no difference. It doesn't make no difference.
No. Let's not muddy the waters.
Okay.
Let's call a spade a spade. Initially, yes, your story was that when you were ordered to fire, you fell down and did not fire. That was your first story. I did
actually fell.
Correct.
Yes, okay. I did actually fail.
Yeah. You now accept that when you were ordered to fire, you fired and all the others fired.
Yes, sir.
Correct? So you
yes,
have
sir.
accepted that you have changed your story from having fell down now to firing your weapons. Let's just get the record straight. Correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So by saying that, you are admitting to participating in the murder of those soldiers, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Thank you very much. Let us move on. After these soldiers were killed, what happened?
We were ordered again by the same Sana Sabali to load them on the jeep again and then drove back to the barracks.
Okay, and tell us what happened.
Coming home. Yes, on our way coming home, the convoy were running very fast. The vehicle were running very fast, and our military police truck was very, very slow at the time. It was old, and at the same time, I'm not even sure. I can't remember, but I know that we had a little delay. First of all, the convoy left actually departed before we depart, and then they were running very big at that time. So we got into the late that evening, between the hours of 6 and 7, I would say.
Mr. Mbup, yes, proceed.
Yes, sir. When we get there, we found out that actually they have already taken out also Ibrahim Sise and Sergeant Kamara, and both of them were also executed. This we learned when we get there, and they were also buried together with those soldiers that were executed in the forest.
Did you arrive at the barracks before the burial of Sise and Kamara, or after their burial?
To be honest, I cannot even say whether it was after or before, because I didn't even get there. What I really have in my mind, what I believe at that time was they were already. I didn't see nobody there trying to bury anybody, and no dead body, no corpse at that time neither.
Were you at the barracks at the time of the killing of Ibrahim Sise?
I was not there. I was still on my way coming.
You see, Mr. Witness, the problem we have with this aspect of your testimony are twofold. One is your involvement, and the second is your whereabouts at the relevant time. The evidence we have is that this event about the forest, it took place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. By 4, in fact, by 3 p.m., all of you were already back at the military barracks. What do you say to that?
To my recollection, I don't think that's accurate. But if they say so, and if that was the time, it could be. But I am pretty much sure that when these soldiers, these two sergeants, were executed, we were still from the forest coming to the barracks. That I am very much sure of.
Okay, let's listen to the testimony of some of these witnesses. That would help us situate the time. Let's look at the testimony of ML Ba, Momodu Lamin Ba. Kindly play the testimony, the evidence of Momodu Lamin Ba, please.
As soon as he left, we were there for a while. Briefly, the council members, they left again towards Banjul. Later, they came back. This will be around in the afternoon, 12 upwards. When they came also, there was an arrangement for a vehicle. All right, a jeep was brought in front of the guard room, parked in front of the guard room, and then these names were called, as I mentioned it earlier on. As the cell was opened, Lieutenant Say was called, and then followed by Buwajame, Bakar Mane, Lamin Dabo, Ablai Bah. Yeah,
let's get the names again properly.
Yeah.
Jibril Say, you said.
Yes.
Followed by who else?
Buwajame.
Bubajame.
Lieutenant Buwajame, Lieutenant Lamin Dabo, Suso.
Lamin Dabo?
Yes. Then
Lamin Dabo, does he have a nickname?
Lamin Dabo?
Yes.
Yes, he has a nickname.
What was the nickname?
Suso.
Suso.
Yeah, we are all from the same village. He's from Breng, I'm from Breng.
Okay.
He's called Suso. You have apply bar, a chopping.
Chopping.
Then you have
Technicians, let's just stop it there. Let's stop it there. And Mr. Witness, can you see, or you could hear the witness saying, this event happened at 12 noon onwards, or 12 noon thereabout. Did you hear him say that?
I heard him say that. The problem here is this, like a witness. For me, this is what I can recollect and the time.
Can you kindly answer the question? Did you hear him say that this thing happened after 12 onwards, correct?
I heard that, yeah.
Good. Let's hear Alaji Kanyi, please, what he said. Do you know a person called EMCC?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what happened to him?
Well, he's also killed, but not at the forest.
Hello, technicians. I'm not referring to this particular video. I'm referring to the video in which Alaji Kanye talked about the time when they departed the barracks, went to the forest and returned.
And in our time, like around 3 o'clock, we are back.
And what happened after these officers were buried?
Then the council members left.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Witness, did you hear Alaji Kanye saying that by 3 o'clock you were back?
I heard that.
Is he lying?
I have no idea. It might be true also.
Mr. Witness, isn't it the case that you are trying to create an alibi here by trying to suggest that you were out there until late in the evening? By the time you returned, EMCC and Basiru Kamara were already killed. Isn't that what you're trying to do? To say that when they were killed, you were not present?
Whatever time they were killed, that was after the forest. That was,
yes.
And that was
the convoy. The convoy returned. By 3 p.m., they were already in the barracks.
Well, I don't think that is accurate because it was definitely in the evening. That I can still remember. I cannot be sure.
Mr. Witness, you are trying to create an alibi by showing that, well, you remained behind and you returned to the barracks at 7 p.m. after the killing. That is what you are trying to say, isn't it?
No, sir. No, sir. What I'm trying to say here, the convoy definitely reached the barracks. My point here is the convoy reached the barracks way before we reached. Whether it was 7 o'clock, or it was 3 o'clock, or it was 12 o'clock, the convoy reached the barrack. The convoy reached the barracks.
In your statement, Mr. Witness, you tried to suggest that the executions at the barracks occurred when it was already getting dark. That's what you said in your statement.
No. No, I didn't say that. I said it was, I don't know what exactly they wrote over there, but what I'm saying is it was when we got there, it was already, we were still in the daylight, but it was late. That's what I said. We were still on the daylight, but it was late in the evening. But if they suggest that it was still in the afternoon, I'm saying that whatever time that was, with the vehicle that I was in, we came into the barracks before the barracks, and that time we were late because we were way behind the convoy. And
when you were going, you managed to arrive at the destination at the same time with the convoy. But when you were returning, you were very, very late. How could that happen?
Not very, very late as this thing. What I'm saying here is, first of all, I said it in the this thing. I said it in the statement that they depart before us. That was number one. They're driving much newer vehicles and faster vehicles than us, and they were running faster than us at that time. They were running very fast at that time. This is what I'm trying to say.
They were able to reach the barracks 2 or 3 hours ahead of you?
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. It will
1
be,
hour?
It will be,
1 hour before you?
It will be between, no, sir. It will be between 25 to, it will be between 15 to 25 minutes. That's the time.
Kanye said they arrived at the barracks around 3 p.m. You say to that?
We may differ in time frame. That is just the recollection of the mind. It could be true.
But let me tell you your recollection. In your statement, you said this. It was very late in the evening when we returned from the forest. That's what you said in your statement.
That's what I thought it was. That's what I perceived in my mind, that it was in the evening. But if they say
very late in the evening, that's what you said.
Late in the evening, but still sunlight. Definitely, there was sunlight.
In your previous statement, you said it was getting dark.
It was getting dark. Well, if I said that, it was a mistake. But I know that it was, for me, what I can remember in my mind is it was in the evening. We got there in the evening, late in the evening.
Mr. Witness, you created this alibi because you wanted to extricate yourself from being present in the camp when Ibrahim Asise and Basiru Kamara were killed. That's what you're trying to do, isn't it?
Not at all, sir. If I was there, I would definitely tell you. I was there.
Let's listen to the testimony of some of the witnesses to hear what they have to say about the killing of Ibrahim Asise. Could you kindly play the statement of the evidence of Said Dabo, please?
They came first to the barracks. Then Sergeant Cisse, Ibu Cisse, I forget, he was inside the cells. Then they called him out, and he was asked by Sana to do his last prayers. He did it. Then from there, Sana Sabali told him that march and go and join your friends. Whilst the dead bodies were lying behind the cookhouse, Sana Sabali told him that march and go and join your friends. As he was going, Lance Corporal Mbub, he gave
first name, please.
Babukan Mbub. But Mbub, Corporal Mbub, his first name I think is Babukar, but I'm not sure. But the Mbub, yeah, he was the one who shot at Sergeant Cisse. He gave him 2 shots on the back and the head. The sergeant fell down. That was the end of Sergeant Cisse. From there, Sana and his people, they left.
Thank you very much. Kill anybody? Thank you very much, technicians. Mr. Witness, Mr. Mbub, did you see that?
I saw that.
Did you see that?
I saw it, sir, yes.
So you see Said Dabo placed you at Yundum Barracks at the time when EMCC was killed, didn't he?
That is very wrong. That is not true at all, sir. If I was there, I would definitely say I was, but I was not there.
Okay. All right. Let's hear Alaji Kanyi on this same subject. Can you play Alaji Kanyi's testimony? Do you know a person called EMCC?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what happened to him?
Well, he's also killed, but not at the forest.
Where was he killed?
Well, I was not present the time he was been killed. Upon arrival from the forest, we found his dead body. From reliable sources said that he was killed by somebody called Mbu, but then I was not present.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, technicians.
The Lance
Thank you, technicians. So, Mr. Mbub, did you hear that?
I heard that.
These are two separate witnesses who claim that you killed Ibrahim Asise. You still deny that?
It is not true. I also heard from the same witnesses. I recall John C.B. Mendy, when they asked him about the same Ibrahim Asise. He told you guys that it was actually, he saw it with his naked eyes, that it was Alaji Kani who actually shot Ibrahim Asise. Also, Alaji Kani himself has admitted killing Fafanyang first, but there was no Fafanyang at that time. I
agree with
Alaji,
what you...
Alaji Kani was the one who was actually confusing between Ibrahim Asise and Fafanyang. I honestly did not even witness Ibrahim Asise. I was not there. I didn't know how did they kill him or where actually in the barracks did they kill him. I don't know.
The problem you face, Mr. Witness, is that two people have implicated you in the killing of Ibrahim Asise. That is something you would acknowledge. That is a problem, isn't it?
It is a problem, I know.
And also, you have a difficulty explaining how you were not in the barracks when, during the killing of Cisse and Kamara, when everybody else you went with to the forest was in fact in the camp at the relevant time.
And that's incorrect, sir, because I know that I was still in the vehicle with Lieutenant Kejau Ture and George Cisse. And these two can definitely, and our driver, whom I definitely forget his name, but he can also bear me witness that we came late, we came last in the barracks from the whole convoy. We were the one who came last at that time.
But if you were to arrive between 10 and 25 minutes after the convoy, that is something you acknowledge. You said it, 15 to 25 minutes. That would take you in the barracks certainly before 4 p.m. And 4 p.m. is certainly very different from late in the evening or very late in the evening for that matter.
Well, I'm saying here, all that I'm saying here, that this is my perception of the time. For me, this is the time that I can remember that actually we came into the barracks. And I still remember seeing Captain Butu when we just came. He was there waiting for us and telling us that we can go to the office. When we came, there was no council member in the barracks anymore.
You see, the only reason, Mr. Witness, the only reason why you would not accept that you were in the barracks together with the council members is because you want to give yourself an alibi and therefore extricate yourself from responsibility, extricate yourself from the allegations of murder that have been made against you.
That is true, but I am not trying to run away from any responsibility. Believe me, if I was there or if I was the one who did it, I will definitely come out plain and acknowledge this and admit it. But I wasn't there. And
Mr. Witness,
I cannot.
You also avoided mentioning participation of your colleagues because you want a trade-off. You don't implicate them and they would not implicate you. That is why you extricated Kejau and Cisse as people who stood aside and did not participate in the killings in the forest.
These are not my people. Since I left the Gambia, I don't, or in the army, or even the in the barracks there, and went to State House. I don't have no contact or any kind of communication with these officers anymore. So I don't
No,
even know where
but
are they
you
right
think
now.
at least that because you have not implicated them, they would also, if asked to testify, would try not to implicate you. That is what you expect, isn't it?
No, not at all, sir. Not at all. Definitely not at all. I expect them just to tell the truth. Just to tell the truth. I am sure that whoever truth and say exactly what you saw, I will be vindicated.
So from everything that occurred on that day, the only murder you are willing to accept is your participation in the murder of 6 officers of the Gambia National Army who were executed at the forest. That's it.
I did participate because and I've opened fire. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. No
Upon
further
giving me the
questions.
order.
I have no further
Yes, sir.
questions for the witness. Thank you very much.
All right, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman Council, and thank you very much, Mr. Mbub, for your testimony. Before I turn to the commissioners, just one confirmation I want from you. You had mentioned earlier that Lamin Koli had fired 2 shots. Is that true? 2 shots. It's the first time I heard that one.
Yes, sir. I saw that.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have Commissioner Kinte, please, you have the floor.
Hello, Mr. Mbog.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Kinte. If I quote you, you said at the forest, 2 of your guys refrained from participating in the shooting. But later you said it made no difference whether you participated or not participated. They were, well, obviously going to be killed. But why didn't you take the stance that even if it was to happen, I would refrain as my 2 colleagues so that I'm not counted among those who participated in the shooting?
At this moment in time, we were like kind of directly ordered by Senator Sabali himself. And at that time, you as a private soldier, you dare not to stand aside and look at watching this happen. They're gonna even if you stand aside, they will still tell you to join. And at that time, I did not have the guts to stand there and try to say that, oh no, I'm not going to participate on this thing, because Senator Sabali was acting so furious at that time, so erratic at that time, that even including Edward Singate himself was silenced.
Yeah, but in the case of Papanyang, you said you were standing at a position between Jiba and the other guy, I forgot, who took shooting positions, and one of them you said shot. But this one you did not participate. You dared not participate. What are the difference?
Well, the difference here is I saw some other people there, and I might not even have a better shot. And the other thing was I was standing with other soldiers right there, and because of this, I just stood there. Since they're standing there, I can order this time around. It was an open order this time around. It was not like how it was in the Indians. At this one, if you want, you can take part. As I see it, it was not like force mandatory. Okay, this particular person go and execute this guy. It was not. It did not do it like that, and that is why I had the chance of not participating. Definitely.
But in the forest, you were asked specifically to participate. Was it?
Because we were not many in the forest, Sana Sabali was right there pointing his, come on, form this line here like this. And I was very close to Sana at that time when he was even saying that. I was very close, as a matter of fact. And that is why the moment the point is gone, the only thing I could do was to follow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Commissioner Carr, did you ask for the floor? Oh, sorry. I thought, any other commissioner? No, no further questions. Council, you have some procedural matters to raise?
Yes,
Please
for
go
the
on.
moment, the witness could be discharged, and it is possible that we would call him again because the witness served as an orderly to Yaya Jame for several years. So we may get back to him on those issues and would possibly call him as a witness on those things, if he has anything useful to say with regards to those. But in the meantime, I say thank you very much, Mr. Mbup, and thank you for the courage to accept your responsibility. The Commission would, if deems it necessary, would contact you again. Thank you very much for your willingness to testify. In the meantime, on some procedural issues, technicians, you could get the witness off the screen. Thank you very much. We are done with him. It was nice leading you in evidence, Mr. Mbu. So as a procedural matter, we have two exhibits to put in. The certificate of service of Mr. Alaji K. For the last one, we should put it in as exhibit 0044A, exhibit 44A, and the letter dated 2nd February 1999, addressed to Alaji Kebe, should also be put in as exhibit 44B. With your indulgence, Mr. Chairman, we would ask that these two documents be added into the record.
Request granted.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That's it from the legal team for the day.
Before you go, do you have witnesses lined up for tomorrow's summer session?
Yes,
if that is
Mr. Chair.
confirmed, then we will adjourn our meeting today and meet again tomorrow at 10 o'clock. But I need confirmation from you that...
Much obliged, Mr. Chair. We can confirm that indeed there would be witnesses available for tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Meeting is adjourned. We meet again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.